Hi everyone, it's Erin from the Provincial Farmhouse. Thank you for joining me. Today I am going to be giving a thrifted cupboard a makeover. I'm going to be using IOD's Village Market Mould and Roycycled's Feed Sack Decoupage paper. You can find a full product list in the description of this video and all your crafting needs on our website, theprovincialfarmhouse.com.au. Let's get started. I found this little wooden cupboard at the thrift store and thought that it was adorable and that it would look even better painted. So my first step was to remove the little handle and then clean the entire piece using Bell's White Lightning and then rinsing off the cleaner. I'm then going to add 2 coats of Bell's Endless Shore Silk Mineral Paint. I was going to try and remove those little hinges, but unfortunately some of the screws were burred and I didn't want to wreck them and not be able to get them off the door. I'm using my Belle Mini synthetic brush. It's always a good idea to use a synthetic brush when using Bell's silk mineral paint. It is a little bit thicker and the synthetic bristles allow your paint on to go a lot smoother. This paint also has a built-in stain blocker and a built-in top coat. I'm then going to be using part of Roycycled's Feed Sacks decoupage paper. This has a lot of designs on the one sheet and we're going to be using the one with the ticking paper design and the lettering. So first I made sure that it was going to fit, and now I am using a pair of scissors to cut out the section that I want to use, and I will of course save the rest of the paper for future use. There are so many beautiful Roycycled decoupage papers to choose from, so many beautiful designs. If you're looking for decoupage paper, we have all of these on our website. I'm now lining up my design and working out how I want the paper to sit, and I can see that I'm going to have some of the lettering cut off on the sides there, but that's okay. I really would like the design centered. So once I have it where I want approximately, I'm just using my fingers and my fingernail to gently crease the paper so that I have an idea of where I need to trim the paper. I'm going to trim along my creased line, but I'm also going to leave just a little bit extra just so that I can be sure that I'm going to have enough paper to cover the center. I'll save those offcuts. Don't ever throw away your decoupage paper. You'll never know when you'll be able to use it again. I'm not too worried if there's a little bit of excess decoupage paper on each side because I can always come in with my craft knife and trim it off. There was a bit of excess on the left-hand side there, so I'm going to take my craft knife and I'm going to gently score the edges, and then I'm going to peel off the excess. You can see that I have some creases in my paper. I'm not too worried about that, as that usually disappears when you decoupage, but if you have some stubborn creases that you want to get rid of, you could always get out your iron and put some baking paper between the paper and your iron, and you can just go over the top of it. On cotton setting is probably best, and that way then you'll be able to get rid of the creases. Now that I have my decoupage paper cut to size, I am going to gently fold back part of the design, and I'm going to be using Bell's flat clear coat to decoupage with today. So I'm going to put down an anchor strip, so that's a line of product that we are going to start with. So I'm just applying it generously, not too much, but just enough, and then I'm going to very carefully lay my paper down, and I'm using a balled up bit of cling wrap for this. this, but you'll see shortly that I also switch between that and a little window squeegee that I got with some window decals. This has some felt on the end of it, and it's just the right size for this project. Now, if you don't have one of these, that's okay. You can just use the cling wrap like I'm using. It's just going to allow you to smooth the paper down without causing too much friction. Sometimes our fingers and our nails can catch the paper and rip it. So now that I've got my anchor line down, I'm coming in with another line of product that I'm applying, and I'm going to repeat this process until I have all of the decoupage paper down. Working in sections like this is a good idea because if I was to put all of the product down and then place my paper down, I'm probably going to get more wrinkles, and I also run the risk of getting air bubbles, and they are a lot harder to get out. So it's a good idea to work in sections. It's a good idea to have a light coloured base underneath your decoupage paper so that the paper is bright like it was intended. If you put a dark colour underneath, the colours are going to be a lot more muted. And this is a technique that you can use if that's the look you're going for, but I really want the colours of the paper to show through. You can actually see this design. I love it. It has age spots on it. It has a little bit of yellowing happening. This is all what was intended for the paper design, and if you are worried about actual bleed through coming up through your paper, it's a good idea to pop a stain blocker underneath. Have you tried Roycycled decoupage paper before? Let me know in the comments what projects you've used it on. Now that I've got all of my paper down, I'm just working my little device there into all of the edges to make sure that my paper is completely stuck down. I'm then going to add another full coat of the Dixie Belle flat clear coat over the top of my paper. There were a few areas where there was just a little bit of excess paper, so now that my decoupage is dry, I am going to use my craft knife to very gently cut the excess and then pull it off. Because my paint is so fresh, as I was pulling back the paper, I did have some of the paint peel off. Now luckily, in this instance, I am actually going to be doing quite a bit of distressing on this little cupboard. I want an aged look. If I didn't want that look, I could always come in with a little artist brush and I could fill in the chipped paint. Next, I'm going to add one final little touch. These are the little wheat stalks that are from the Village Market mould. Now, I had already cast those in amazing casting resin and I just had them sitting in my little stash, so I decided that I would add them to the top of the cupboard. So here you can see I'm just having a bit of play with placement, working out how I want them to sit, but I decided to just have them up the top there. So I'm going to be applying some super glue to the back of each one and gluing them down. As I was pressing them down, I noticed that the little stalks were a little bit uneven, so I'm using my hairdryer to heat up the resin. This will allow them to be flexible again, and it will allow me to mold it to the shape that I want. So I'm just adding a little bit more glue there now that it's flexible, and I'm pressing it down. So keep that in mind, that if you have already cast molds previously, that if they have warped or they're a shape that you don't want them to be, heat them up with a hairdryer or a heat gun and you'll be able to manipulate them and bend them again. I already had these cast, but you could definitely use air dry clay with these molds if you wanted to get a similar look. Next, I'm going to go over the top of my castings using Endless Shore again. I'm also attaching the little wooden handle again, and I'm going to use Endless Shore over the top of that as well. I'm then going to use a medium grit sandpaper block to distress the edges of this little cupboard. And here's our finished cupboard. I'm really happy with how this little thrifted cupboard turned out. Let me know what you think of today's project in the comments. Has it inspired you to perhaps try decoupaging something that you've got at home? Make sure you check out my other thrift flip videos where I use chalk paint and IOD to transform them into something beautiful. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button and the like button if you liked today's video, and you can find all your crafting needs on our website, theprovincialfarmhouse.com.au. Thanks for watching.